أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Friday sermon delivered by Hazrat Khalifatullah Munir Azim Ayadullahu Ta'ala bin Nazril Aziz on 29 March 2024, 18 Ramadan 1445 Hijri. After greeting all Muslims and all his disciples around the world with the salam, the salutation of peace in Islam, the Khalifatullah Ayadullah Ta'ala bin Nazril Aziz read the Tashahhud, the Ta'ud and the Surah Al-Fatiha, and he then focused his sermon on religion, deen of Allah, Islam, came to bring balance and perfection to man in his life. Without religion, man loses his bearings and therefore will not be able to live a healthy life. It is religion that encourages marriage, family life, and prayer. The fact that we are being watched by Allah and His angels and that we must one day be held accountable for our actions forces us to behave well and think twice before committing despicable acts. The religion of Islam advocates moderation and does not tolerate any extremes. On the one hand, there is the obligation of everyone to seek a lawful livelihood, and on the other hand, one must engage in religious obligations every day. But during the year, one should have a balance between worldly activities and spirituality. And this is where we note that the Prophet, peace be upon him, dedicated the last 10 days of each Ramadan to Ittikaf. It is narrated by Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha that after the death of the Prophet, peace be upon him, his wives also sat down for the 10 days of Ittikaf. Bukhari. Ittikaf is cutting oneself off from all worldly occupations and withdrawing to do ibadat, that is, acts of worship, exclusively in the mosque for men and for ladies too. For ladies, their homes too can become places of retreat, but there are strict rules to observe, just like for the mosque. There are three categories of Ittikaf: Nafil, that is voluntary; Sunnah, that is prophetic practice; and Wajib, that is compulsory. The intention of Nafil Ittikaf can be done at any time when entering the mosque, and it can be broken without problem. There is no condition to fast attached to Nafil Ittikaf, and one can do it even for a moment. Second, there is the Sunnah Ittikaf of the last 10 days of Ramadan. This Ittikaf requires one to be clean and to be fasting and completing it until the end. This is why when menstruation arrives, ladies must break their Ittikaf. Wives must have permission from their husbands to sit for this Ittikaf. The Wajib Ittikaf is this retreat which one has made in the form of a promise or a promise in return for any favor. Therefore, it becomes obligatory for that person to accomplish it, that is, to fulfill his promise. The Ittikaf of the last 10 days of Ramadan is Sunnah Muakkada Alal Kiyafa, that is, at least one man must be in the state of Ittikaf during the last 10 days of Ramadan in at least one mosque in each place. If there is no one, then all Muslims in these areas are to blame. It is reported on the authority of Ibn Majah that whoever performs Ittikaf, it is as if he is performing all good deeds that he can do. Whoever observes Ittikaf for one day, seeking Allah's pleasure, Allah creates between him and the fire of hell 3 trenches, the width of each greater than the distance between the heaven and the earth. Tabrani. And the virtue of Ittikaf is that we are cut off from all worldly occupations to concentrate on our Creator, Allah. And yet, the greatest virtue is the night of Laylatul Qadr, which one can have through the Ittikaf of the last 10 days. The Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, as a matter of fact, performed Ittikaf to have that night, that is, the blessings thereof. More than 1,000 months of rewards for this night, and therefore we understand why so many people accompanied the Prophet, peace be upon him, during Ittikaf. The main objective of Ittikaf is to abandon worldly tasks to devote ourselves to the service of Allah within the limits of the mosque. And we are advised to increase the ibadat during these last 10 days. When the last 10 days of Ramadan arrived, the Prophet, peace be upon him, spent the nights in acts of worship, woke up his wives, and did a lot of effort and tightened his belt. Muslim. The expression tightened his belt is explained either to express the seriousness of the Prophet, peace be upon him, in doing acts of worship, or that he did not approach his wives in those days. The first condition of Ittikaf, whether Sunnah or Wajib, is that one must be Muslim, clean, that is without impurity, be of sound mind, and one must fast. For men and women, Ittikaf is done in a mosque where the 5 obligatory salat, that is prayers, are established. Ladies must be pure, that is before or after menstruation. Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha explains, the prescription on a mutakif, that is one who performs Ittikaf, is that he should not go out to visit a sick person, should not attend a funeral, should not go out without necessity, and there is no Ittikaf without fasting. Abu Dawud. So, one must stay within these limits and spend his time reading the Holy Quran, doing his salat, tasbihs, and engaging in other religious pursuits. We can talk about good things, sleep, eat in there, and our family can take news about our well-being. Men do not go to work, and ladies do not take care of their household chores. But if they don't have anyone to cook, then they can take care of it without delay and return back to their place for Ittikaf. Ittikaf is reserved for engaging in deen occupations and nothing else. No trade transactions or words of the temporal world. Now, let's see how to accomplish Ittikaf. Ittikaf, in brief, is staying in a mosque with the intention of being there for Allah. Performing Ittikaf during the last 10 days of Ramadan is Sunnah Muakkada. That is, it is not obligatory to do it, but it is highly desirable to do it, at least by a pious person who will represent the Ummah in his place. At least one believer must perform Ittikaf in each place. More than one person can do this in a mosque and each will receive the same reward. Whoever has to perform the Ittikaf of Ramadan must enter the mosque before sunset on the 20th day of Ramadan. He will only leave after the appearance of the new moon of Shawwal, that is Eidul Fitr. Leaving the mosque without a valid reason can only break the Ittikaf. It is permissible to leave it for Salatul Jummah in case this salat is not performed in the mosque where he or she performs Ittikaf. For istinja, purification after his natural needs as urine and defecation. Wudu, ablution for prayer. Ghusl, the great bath, the complete purification. On the 20th day of Ramadan, before the Salat of Asr, one should enter the mosque with the intention of making Ittikaf and read the Niyya, that is intention.
Bismillah dakhaltu wa alayhi tawakkaltu wa nawaitu sunnatal i'tikaf.
With the blessed name of Allah have I entered into the masjid, and in Him have I placed my trust, and I have made the intention of the sunnah of Ittikaf. Then you do 2 rakat, Tahiyatul Masjid, as for the usual nafils, but before you do Asr prayer in congregation. After the Salat of Asr, read the tasbihs. Ya Jabbaru, Ya Allah, Astaghfirullah. O the one who compels each and everything according to your divine will, O Allah, forgive me. And recite the Darud Sharif 100 times until the time of iftar. But about 10 minutes before iftar, you stop and then concentrate in your du'as to ask from Allah for the well-being of everyone and the goods of this world as well as the goods of the hereafter. And you can also read this dua. Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum Sabbitna Alal Iman. O Allah, O self-sustaining sustainer, raise me with faith. After the Salatul Maghrib, read the 6 rakat of the Salatul Awwabin 2 by 2 like all the usual nafils and then recite the tasbih. Ya Sattaru, Ya Allah, O coverer of sins and mistakes, O Allah, 100 times. After the Salatul Isha, Taraweeh prayers and duas, read the tasbih. Ya Ghaffaru, Ya Allah, O the absolute forgiver, O Allah, 100 times. And read Surah Mulk, that is Tabarakalladhi, or other surahs that you usually read, and also do dhikrullah and recitation of the Holy Quran. Before sleeping, read the 4 kuls 3 times, that is Kul Ya Hayyul Kafirun, Kul Huwallahu Ahad, Kul A'udhu Bi Rabbil Falaq, Kul A'udhu Bi Rabbin Nas. When you wake up for tahajjud after doing wudu, read Tahiyatul Wudu like after every wudu. Then you perform 8 rakat of Salatul Tahajjud, 2 by 2 rakat, and then you read the Holy Quran and the Salatul Tawbah 2 rakat. Read as much as possible.
Allahumma innaka afuun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni.
O Allah, you are forgiving and love forgiveness, so forgive me. After suhoor, sehri, Read 100 times.
Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahil aliyyil azim.
Glory be to Allah and all praise be to Allah. There is none worthy of worship except Allah, and Allah is the greatest. There is no might or power except from Allah, the Exalted, the Great One. After Salatul Fajr, read the Tasbih, Ya Azizu, Ya Allah. O the One who is most powerful and most cherished, O Allah, 100 times, and other tasbihs as much as possible until the time of Ishraq. Then you do Salatul Ishraq 2 rakat at least 20 minutes after sunrise. After Salatul Ishraq, read surahs Yasin and Muzammil and then read or recite other surahs of the Holy Quran. Around 10 a.m. in the morning, perform Salatul Duha Chast 4 rakat. If you have personal problems, you can read the Salatul Haja 2 rakat as for the usual nafils every day. Then read 4 rakat of Salatul Tasbih. After Salatul Tasbih, it is best to recite the Holy Quran and read the Darud Sharif, especially on Thursday evening and Friday morning, that is Jummah. Read the Darud Sharif a lot and also read Surah Al-Kahf. So, my dear disciples and brothers and sisters of the community of our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, maximize these blessed days. And to those who will observe the Ittikaf, I advise them to refrain from speaking without necessity, not to leave the mosque except for the necessary need, to avoid eating foods that give off odors, and not to smoke during the 10 days. That is not only those 10 days, but for the rest of your lives. Keep away from yourselves all bad habits that ruin your physical, moral, and spiritual health. May Allah accept our all the Muslim believers' itikafs. Inshallah, Ameen.